Hey folks, this is Brian. I have another Runequest game to review, tell about, comment on, whatever. For Gen Con this year, Chaosium had a part 2 for the quick start rules from after the Broken Tower, and it's called Darkness at Runegate. The city of Runegate, some darkness things happening there. So I actually ran this once at Gen Con, and the PCs, because of some stuff. Oh shoot, I've got the video up already. You know that story. Well, anyway, my buddy Ed from Utah was out here in New York City for a conference, and his son Mark lives in Maryland, so they came down last night or yesterday, so we can touch base, reminisce, that kind of stuff, and then play some games. I was trying to get a couple of my local players to come in to help beef up the party, but they weren't able to for various reasons. So it was just me GMing my buddy Ed and his son Mark, and we're doing RuneQuest. And Mark had never played RuneQuest before. Ed had. I ran the Broken Tower for him and Grant, one of my other guys. I think it was last year. So he remembered Vasana, the cavalry woman, the Bison cavalry woman. He wanted to play her again, so he snagged that sheet. And his son Mark ended up grabbing Harmast. And so I had the two of them embark to Runegate to find out why trading, because it's a major trading area. It's also a horse. There's a horse town near there, so involved with that kind of thing about something's going on at Runegate. There hasn't been trading on for like 3 weeks now. Go find out what's going on, kind of thing. So they go up to investigate, and they come riding up, and there's a lot of discussion going on beforehand about different things. There's a few things to spot off. They spot offhand. Smoke coming up out of the town. But he created this, or did he especially may have gotten just a special on his scan roll. So he figured out these are funeral pyres, and he made a successful listen roll. So he heard funeral chanting and that kind of stuff. It was all an earth speech, but Sana's sister, never mind, is an earth priestess as well. So she's heard those kind of stuff going on. So it made that recognition there. So things are kind of odd going on. They're getting a little concerned, and they come up to the guards, and the guards, and the way the module's written, are very brusque and sharp on, stop, you can't enter, why are you here, who are you, kind of stuff. And Harmast is the son of a clan chief, and Vasana's acting as his bodyguard, and so she gets offended on his behalf. And they're treating this chieftain's son like this. And this theme runs throughout the rest of the scenario. But the guards say that they need to stay there until Severos, the Thane, can come and meet them. So there's an opportunity there for a couple of search rolls, that kind of thing. They miss all that. Eventually, Severos comes up, flanked by 4 guards, and talks about how hot he is. He's got this very fine, expensive armor. His cloak's thrown over his shoulder, so you can tell he's loosely hanging his hand on the hilt of his sword, that kind of stuff, right? And the guy's got a bit of an attitude and writes in there that he's heard these folks. So as soon as he finds out who they are, he gets a little envious, a little upset, that kind of stuff, because these are heroes. Although this is his town, right? He's the Thane of this town, so they're coming to his house, kind of deal. Well, anyway, so there's a little confrontation there. Again, Vasana gets offended on the behalf of Harmast, and instead of trying to be a little more proper, getting down off her animal and talking and that kind of thing, just stays up there. Soon after this little encounter occurs, there's another guard comes running up. Severus, you got to come quickly! Hurry, hurry! And he turns and runs back. And so Severus, being brusque again, says, "Come with us. I'm not done with you yet." That kind of thing. So again, Vasana goes, "Oh, really? You're not done with us?" But they follow into town and they go over to the temple, and they're there's a crowd up front, weeping and wailing, tearing their clothing, beating their chests, brandishing weapons. Everybody's really upset about something. Well, inside the temple, there's one priest. There's the Lightbringer's temple, and there's one priestess there, and she's been killed, and she has just been slaughtered. It's like a slaughterhouse inside, blood and mud all over the floor, and on flung up the walls. Her body's been shredded up. And then there's some comments there about it. The priestess Shalana Arroy, and we are truly cursed, that kind of thing. And they do a little bit of looking around, and they notice claw marks in the mud and blood on the ground that head towards the entrance but disappear. And they see some markings on the wall, some chaos markings, that kind of stuff. So they start to think something really is going on here. And the way the scenario is written is Savros at that point says we need to go to my father and let him know what's going on. But I've been doing some reaction rolls as things go along, and I rolled pretty high for this one, so he kind of took a step back, because obviously he knows he needs help because he doesn't know what he's doing. And these guys, these adventurer types, whatever they are, they've done stuff in the past, so they could probably help him out. So I had him do a little please come with me, my father, we're going to explain what's going on. And Vasana gets all high and mighty. We're not doing anything until you answer some of our questions. He goes, my father can answer any questions you have. So eventually we get them out over to the longhouse or the Great Hall, whatever. And they go in to meet him. He's obviously sick. He's very old. And he talks about how the sickness, there's a plague in town. These disease spirits are everywhere. And many people are sick. Many people are dying. And now this Shalana Arroyo priestess has been murdered. And there's a nice little caption off to the side about, to help inform the players. Murdering a priestess in the first place is bad, right? Nobody's an enemy of Shalana Arroyo. She's the goddess of healing and mercy. Everybody needs healing and mercy on their side, that kind of stuff. And there's this whole secret murder, the fact she was murdered in the dark kind of thing, that's way beyond the pale of the way you act and stuff. So something very, very wrong is going on. And there's a great little write-up. At this point, they ask more questions, and it comes out through all this discussion about this person called the Healer. There are citizens in town that have been healed by this person called the Healer, but he doesn't really know much about this. Just rumors that get up to his level kind of deal. This healer person never introduced herself when she came to town, so he doesn't know who she is or where she is or anything. And he recommends that they stay at the inn there. There's an inn there that's has a reputation for being very neutral to the point where they will allow lunars to stay there and non-humans. But it's it's a good place, nice place, and with all the disease around, it's fairly empty. So he makes that recommendation. So as they're walking through town, it was just one random encounter roll to see what happened. And as they're coming up towards the inn, they notice this fellow sitting, leaning up against a building on the side, and he coughs and wheezes and falls over dead. That's when he encounters dead person in the street, right? So there you go. Okay, this has got to be some kind of disease thing. We need to stay away from that. And then they make it to the inn. I try to talk with the innkeeper, and there's some write-up about the fact that the innkeeper, while he's polite, is not real talkative, and unless people are spending money, he's not happy, right? So I try to get around that because I start asking questions. He asks, "Are you going to be staying here?" And he gives him the price, that kind of thing. So she says, "Okay, we pay him," and then he starts doing a little bit of talking. But he doesn't want to bad talk people in town because these are his neighbors and his friends and stuff. But there's a couple of things he knows. There's this group of people they call the followers. And they're the ones who have been healed by this healer lady. He's never seen the healer lady. And that on occasion they come into the tavern of his inn. There's a tavern, there's a stables, and then there's the actual rooms part. And so it's late in the afternoon. They traveled a long ways. Vasana sends Harmas to go up and take a nap. She stays back down in the tavern to watch in case any of these followers show up. For an hour or two. So an hour or two later, an hour or two later goes by, and Harmas comes down. And about that time, I have a group of 5 of these followers show up, and they order some food and lots of drinks. They are getting drunk on purpose because they have to go to a worship ceremony tonight, and it just did not feel right. These worship services, right? So they're drinking, and so Vasana goes up and Harmas shows up too. They talk and discuss things, and all 5 of these guys are in fact infected with a disease spirit, but they've been cured of it, so it's no longer affecting them, but they're still carriers. So as they're sitting around this table, I have them roll 5 separate saving throws against their constitution fighting these disease spirits. Harmast made all of his, which seems odd because his constitution is kind of low. But Vasana missed one, and so she has to make the saving throws to see how severe the disease spirit gets her. And it was once an hour, if I remember right. And it was brain fever. So I told her she's got this headache. She's not losing stats yet, but something's happening. Something's wrong. Made some reaction rolls. They're trying to find out how do we meet this healer lady. And so it says, hey, we're going to a healing service tonight. You can come with us. That kind of thing. So they finish drinking, and then out they go. Now, in the scenario, it talks about her being in a house in small town, but nowhere reference on the map or in the scenario is where is small town. And I had missed that the first time around this, so I just had her in a little shack out in the woods, an old cabin kind of thing. Cabin, people are dead, she just moves in. So I did the same thing with this one. So they follow the followers out into the shack, and they knock on the door. She says to come in. They come in. She smiles. She puts her shoulder on puts her hand on the shoulder of all of the men as if in blessing, and puts her hand on the cheek of all the women as if in blessing. There's like 2 women and 3 men, if I remember right. And then she sees the adventurers. That kind of takes her back. She doesn't know who these guys are or what's going on. They make an insight roll and notice that something kind of there was an expression. Her smile dropped for a second, so she's not comfortable with what's going on. And she does a blessing on Harmas and goes to do a blessing of Vasana, and she goes, I'm not going to let her touch me. Vasana is convinced that this healer lady is some kind of chaos demon. We were talking about the claw mark, talking about like a giant chicken. It's like, oh, the chaos chicken. She's the chaos chicken. She does this backhand thing to keep her hand off her, and they talk and stuff. And there's some discussion going on. And the healer says, hey, I can tell you've been touched by a disease spirit. Looks like brain fever. I can heal you of that. And he goes this whole thing about, you heal me now, and then you get me wrapped in some kind of cult. Next thing I know, I'm indebted to you, and I'm in control. You're controlling me, and all this magical stuff, right? So she's going off of this wild goose chase about this whole stuff about going on. But there's some more discussion going on. And the scenario talks about if the PCs are really hard on her, with the followers watching, there's an opportunity that the followers may actually give up some information. I made some reaction rolls, and after they came in and the whole blessing thing tried to happen, one of the followers, female, I forgot her name, kind of did this, looks at Vasana and goes like this, get out, go back out the door kind of thing. She had interpreted that as, this is our place. Get out, we've got things to do. But after a couple more rolls, she blurts out something about how bad these worship services are. That they make you drink this horrible, nasty liquid, and there's monsters there guarding you. And at that point, the healer loses her cool, and cries out, "I revoke your healing!" And then she collapses to the ground in pain and screams. And of course, everybody else just drops to the ground too. Please don't hurt us. And at that, Vasana draws her weapon and goes to attack. So we go through this whole discussion on strike ranks and movement and how this all stuff works, and he brought up that he should be able to go through his strike ranks of attacking while he's moving. You know, he's chasing somebody, right? Following somebody along. What does it take to actually strike out? You know, it kind of made some sense. So what I did is I made some modifiers. I took away 5% for every hex that she moved, but she was attacking from the rear, so she got the plus 40. It was 30 minus 35, so she ended up with a plus 5. The healer had to go out the door, so that took her 5 strike ranks to do that. She's actually casting spells while she's moving. So as soon as they get to the doorway, it's like strike rank 11, and then 12, they're outside. But the healer has summon darkness elemental. That's a rune spell, so it goes off of strike rank 1. So strike rank 1, Vasana gets engulfed in this cold, cold darkness and has to make the healer makes a power versus constitution roll on the called chart. Resistance roll chart. But the healer's got a power of 19. Vasana's constitution is like 12. And so, she made it. The elemental overpowers Vasana, and then we roll again for the reaction, which can be dies of fright. Only 5% chance of that, but still dies of fright. Through being incapacitated for days, full turns, rounds, that kind of thing. And she ended up being incapacitated for 8 full turns. That's 40 minutes, because a full turn is 5 minutes. That's a 5 on this one. Well, anyway, so that she collapses. And that saves, because Hassan would have made mincemeat of her, realistically. But Harmas is following in trace as well. So Harmas gets to her at the doorway, is able to make an attack. He gets to like 105% with all the modifiers and stuff. And he chooses to use the 5. If you go over 100%, you have 2 options. I don't remember if in the book it said, speaking of the book, got my Gen Con. When you go over 100%, 2 things can happen. And I give them as options. One is you can take that percentage over 100 and apply it as a negative to the person's defense. So if you're in combat, their shield or the dodge or whatever goes down by that amount. Alternatively, you can keep that bonus over 100, and that would therefore increase your critical percentage chance and your special percentage chance. Now, previous to this, and some other things I've run into about discussing these things, I was doing both. Your chance to crit and all that stuff increases, plus your defense guys go down. So it's an option, one or the other. And I'm cool with that. So he did the thing, but she's got like a dodge of like 75. I probably should have given her an additional modifier for dodging something behind her. But, you're running from somebody there behind you, you kind of keep track of them. So I probably still should have given a modifier to that. Anyway, so she makes her dodge. Strike misses. They get outside. And she turns on him. So next round, we calculate strike ranks. She turns around. She's actually an ogre. So she's got these claws. So she's, in fact, a chaos chicken. She's also got iron. It's basically Iron Fist, Iron Claw, same spell. 6. Iron Claw 6. That's plus 30% on her to hit chance and defense, and an extra 6 points of damage. She also has a strength spell, but she has not cast that yet. The plan was for her to do that next round. So she turns and she swacks and she swacks, and I think she only hit once, but he parried with his shield, but it got through his shield to his left leg. But he's got plate greaves on his left leg, so she maxed that. She had 18 points of damage. And 12 on the shield, 6 on his plate greaves, so shield goes down to 11, and he doesn't take any real damage. But when he does his attack that round, he fumbles. And the fumble chart deal was his helmet got skewed, so his vision is obscured. He's at minus 20% until he fixes his helmet. And then it takes D3 rounds. He rolled. It only took 1 round to fix it. So I gave him that. Okay, you're going to continue to fight with your helmet skewed, or you're going to fix it. And he decides to fix it. I'll go ahead and fix it. So he takes the round to fix his helmet. While he's doing that, she books it. While she is not the source, but she's part of this whole disease spirit stuff going on. She's not really here for everybody else. She's here for herself, and she's been found out, and so she's split. That's been my interpretation of her plan. If she gets found out and gets away, she's gonna get away, hide, and split. So that's what she did. She ran down the pathway, jumped off the side of into the woods, and hid. They go book. Well, Harmask was booking out there to try and find her. Isn't able to, so he comes back. The sun is still on the ground, shaking in fear. And he sends one of the guards to go back to town to get Severos, the Thane. Now, when they left town, I forgot this. When they left town, they went through one of the gates, and Asana told one of the guards, "Get Severos. Tell him we know the answer to his problems with these disease spirits, and we believe we have the answer to the murder of the priestess." I rolled a mediocre reaction to that, so eventually the guard would go get Severos. So they go and take off. So she sends one of the followers, "Go back down, get Severos now." And then she uses a couple of other ones to help carry her. Well, they were talking about carrying her. Eventually Severos gets back. I forgot the whole timing thing, but this whole time for Vasana eventually wears off. So she's back to normal. And Severos is there, and they're discussing things on what to do next. Because Severos is still the lawman, so he wants to capture this girl and bring her back for trial, whatever. Vasana just wants to kill her outright. But while they're in the cabin talking, discussing things, they hear a bunch of people outside. There's like 20 folks from the town walking along the path past the house and into the woods. They've got torches because they need to see, but they're being pretty quiet, right? So they decide they're just going to follow and trace. Now, Severos is there with 2 of his special guards. They're both Hamakti initiates. Brother and sister. I forgot what the brother's deal was, but the sister can't use shields, but she does extra damage with her greatsword. Like, you need to do extra damage with a greatsword, right? And so one of them will not do any like ambushes or anything like that. I think it was the brother. Yeah, the brother doesn't do that. Okay, so they're traveling down the path. They get eventually to the chaos spot. There's a place out there in the woods where a drop of the crimson bat's blood hit the ground. So there's this huge crater. This huge crater out there that's all black. Everything's dead. Reeks of chaos. In fact, you gotta make a constitution roll from the smell, but the smell may be part of what's been going on in there too, because there are 5 brew, an ogre, and a bonfire, and an altar to Malia, the goddess of disease, right, and pestilence, made out of parts of dead bodies. Yeah, so they get up there to wait and see what's going on. These villagers have gone, coming, hoping to get healed. That's what they're there for, to get healed. The ogre calls out because the priestess should have been here by now, and he directs 2 of the brew to go find her, see what's going on. Okay, when that happens, the party kind of backs up and jumps into the woods to try and hide. Everybody hides pretty well except for the 2 Hamakti. But these 2 brew that he sends are obviously the low-level guys, right? So they go trucking out there, but one of them did get a special on his scan roll or spot hidden or whatever, and notices one of the Hamakti, the girl, I think it was, he saw. And so he stops, grabs his buddy. It's initiative time, right? So we'll figure out strike ranks, statements of intent, strike ranks, figure out what's going on. And we do what I call dynamic movement at this point. When you have movement and combat all happening at the same time, I try to do this. You wait till your strike rank to attack, and then you can start moving. So as soon as you're engaged with an opponent, you can hit them. that kind of thing, rather than moving 2 and then waiting till 7 more kind of thing. So the 2 brew move in on the Hamakti girl. Savros is right there as well. Sun and Harmas both come up behind him, and the Hamakti boy goes out to the path to guard for them, because he's not going to ambush anybody, even if they are brew. Combat ensues. They take the brew out. The brew can't hit with beans, but they do end up hitting somebody once, I think. But eventually they get taken out. 2 or 3 hits each, easy, right? And they're wearing leather. Nothing happens to them. They get chopped up. They did have their spear and shield out, so I had them use those, even though they're not very good with the spear. So they take those 2 down. At this point, people have to make more disease spirit resistance rolls, and Vasana made hers this time, but Harmas missed his, and he went all the way to severe, where he takes loses a point of, he was strength, so it was creeping chills every melee round. It wasn't full turn, something less than full turn. Really quick, like. So he lost a point. So I think it was just a melee round. The next melee round, he loses a point of strength. He has to make their Constitution roll. He made that one, so then it moves to once an hour, or no, once every full turn, and then it makes. We kind of, at this point, it was getting late and they had to go, so we sped through stuff. He made the next one, so it went to once an hour. Made the next one, so it goes once a day. So we lost 1 point. Did he lose 2? I think he actually lost 2 points of strength. But at that point, he's losing once a week, so they have plenty of time to get back to town, send somebody out to get a healer to come back and start healing. They know it's disease spirits. They've got rid of the priestess, that kind of thing. The brewer's still around, and there are still these disease spirit fetches in town, but we didn't go that far. All in all, great fun. My buddy Ed is a very suspicious player. It came out of Asana every time she opened her mouth. But it's pretty good. But that was Darkness at Runegate. Happy gaming.